Hey, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about the movie that everyone has been talking about lately, that is Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve. But before we go into it, please make sure to like this video if you end up enjoying it, and please make sure to subscribe if you're new here. We keep uploading movies, TV shows, and all that great stuff. But let's get into Dune and give you my thoughts on it, and give you my ranking of where I think Dune stacks up with the rest of Villeneuve's filmography. Let's get into it. So let me just tell you guys what kind of Dune fan I am. I did pick up the book a while ago, maybe last year. I attempted to try and read it, but I kind of fell off reading ever since maybe like high school. But I do have the book. I do plan on delving back into it now that I finished the movie. But I never read it. I read like the first chapter of it and just fell off. It's not saying that's a bad book. I'm just a bad reader, right? And then I saw 1984's Dune, directed by David Lynch. I have it right here. I watched it the other day. Abysmal movie. I thought it was so bad. It felt like a David Lynch movie when I don't think it ever should have. So confusing. I had no concept of the actual storyline. It just came off really comedic at time. The effects were terrible. I know it's the 80s, but we already had Star Wars by then, 2001: A Space Odyssey. They could have done something different, make it a sci-fi epic, a sci-fi opera, the way it was meant to be, even in the 80s. But I think they just couldn't do that with Lynch behind the helm. We didn't really know Lynch as the Lynch we know him now. He was still figuring himself out. But I think Lynch is better when he's coming up with ideas out of his own head. That's when his genius really comes out. I don't think him adapting, one of the best sci-fi novels is really like his niche, or niche, whatever that word is called. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the original Dune. For Denis Villeneuve's Dune, this is my number one most anticipated movie of the year. I was more hyped for this than No Way Home. I mean, Villeneuve, he's just becoming rapidly one of my favorite directors of all time. I love his directing style. Even though it is similar to Christopher Nolan's, I think he does it a little bit differently. And just his style and just the way this movie was advertised and the way it looked. I mean, I was just so hyped for this movie. So I was so happy to be able to finally see it last night. And so let's go into it. Let me get this out of the way first by saying that it checks all the filmmaking boxes. I know some people, they don't care about that. I'm sure for a lot of mainstream audiences, if you go and watching this, not really knowing Villeneuve or the story of Dune or anything, you may find it really boring or slow or really not your thing, right? And that's fine. For me, I'm a big sci-fi guy. I love Star Wars. Really interested in this world, Dune anyway. The Chosen One storyline, I know it's been done a lot of times, but I think Dune does it differently. And I'm a sucker for those type of stories anyway, so I always enjoy a good Chosen One story. But yeah, the cinematography was stellar, amazing, immersive, made me feel engaged. The scope of this world and the universe was really shown with its cinematography. Just some of the shots in IMAX, just being able to see so much more than on HBO Max as I saw after, was really insane, really cool. The sound was amazing. I mean, the boom of the cannons at times, you could feel it. Even on HBO Max, I watched it after. My 4K screen is fine. My sound system is fine. If you have a good sound system and you have a big screen TV, like a 4K one, don't feel like you have to be forced to go see an IMAX. I know everyone's like, go see an IMAX or it's a disservice. Maybe, but don't feel discouraged. Go watch it any way you feel comfortable watching it. But if you're going to watch it at home, make it feel like a movie theater. Shut up the lights, put the volume up. That's what I did after, and it was really fun. And but yeah, the lighting was really cool, with like when there would be explosions or like a fire, it would be like this blinding light that felt like I was actually there. So yeah, the filmmaking level was just amazing all around. The characters were phenomenal. The acting goes without saying again. The cast with Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa, Timothy Chalamet, Ferguson. Who am I missing? There's plenty more I'm missing, but they all did a phenomenal job. Timothy did good as the lead. Oscar Isaac's great as always. I actually really like Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa's characters. They just felt really badass, and I would love to see more of them. And this will be a spoiler-free review, so I'm not spoiling anything if you haven't seen it yet. I also have to applaud Villeneuve for actually making the storyline so much more coherent than David Lynch did. Like I said earlier, David Lynch, I had no idea what the hell was going on in that movie. If someone asked me what 1984's Dune was about, I would have said spice. That's all I would have known, spice. I know there's something with spice. Everything else I had no clue. Villeneuve was able to explain the story so much more better. Obviously, it's split up into two parts. This is part one. Gives the story more time to breathe, more time for these characters to develop, and just more screen time to really figure out these characters' motives and the stories, and he's able to explain it better. The story, the way I saw it, it is sort of confusing to sort of like explain to someone. I think as long as you get the gist of the story, you should be good. But the fact that he was able to make this pretty complicated sci-fi epic into something that was really coherent is just good in Villeneuve's part. And then my favorite thing about this movie was the world building. Like I said, the scope and the size of it. It just made this universe feel so rich with its characters and its worlds. So different and unique. I compare it to Star Wars, right? If anything, Star Wars got inspired by Dune's novel, right? With the voice is similar to like the Force, how he's able to like manipulate people with the voice. So that was really cool. and we haven't really had a unique sci-fi movie in so long. I mean, at least I feel like for me, everything's been like these IP stuff, big franchises. When I go see a big sci-fi movie, it's what? Star Wars, it's Marvel. And maybe the last sci-fi movie I saw that was big in movie theaters was freaking Star Trek in 2009. I'm being honest. But yeah, I love the hell of this movie. I'll give you guys my rating for it right now. I'm giving it a 4.6 out of 5. It tops my favorite movie of the year so far. Before that, I had Zack Snyder's Justice League at a 4.5. I really love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I've seen it twice. It still baffles me that was my number one movie, but it was. But now Dune has topped that. Before I forget, I also want to say that Hans Zimmer's score was brilliant, so good. I wish it was used maybe a little bit more in a couple of scenes, but I can't knock out. That was really great. And, the actual story of Dune is amazing. That's what made the movie so good, right? I'm a big sucker on the story. Even though all cinematography stuff and the filmmaking stuff were all amazing and it elevates the movie to a different tier, the story's where it's at for me, and I thought that was amazing. So how Dune ranks with the rest of Villeneuve's filmography, I haven't seen Maelstrom or the August 32nd movie yet. Those are his two first movies. I haven't watched them. I tried finding them. I couldn't find them anywhere. But the way I would rank Villeneuve's filmography from the top of my head, I think there's 8 of them that I've seen. I would go Enemy, which I think is really good. I think they're all really good. But I'd go Enemy, Polytechnic, then I go Sicario, Incendies, then Dune, then Arrival, then Blade Runner 2049, and then Prisoners. I'm a big Prisoners fan. I love Prisoners. Perfect thriller in my eyes. So, I mean, Dune, I rated Dune a 4.6, right? It's just a testament that Arrival, Blade Runner, and Prisoners are higher than that, because I think those are amazing movies. I think they're just done a little bit more well done. I mean, Arrival is a straight masterpiece. Blade Runner 2049 is a masterpiece. Prisoners is a masterpiece. Dune gets really close to a masterpiece. I mean, if you call it a masterpiece, by all means, please do. I mean, it really is up there for sci-fi. One of the best sci-fi movies of all time, I think, now, with that rating. But I just think Part 2 is the masterpiece that's coming. I think Part 2 will be better than Part 1. And I think the stuff that maybe I had a little bit problems with Part 1, which isn't many, Part 2 will perfect that to a T. And that maybe be his best movie is Dune Part 2. See how everything concludes in this epic sci-fi saga. I mean, I didn't even know that there was more books than just Dune. There's a bunch of stories to tell. So this could be, maybe the next Star Wars. Maybe I'm not saying they're going to make video games out of it or more Legends books or stuff like that. But there's definitely room for Dune's world to be explored like immensely. A lot to dissect, a lot of lore to go into. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. But let me know what you guys thought down below on Dune, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't like it. Very mixed, I see. I think a lot of the film buffs love it. Maybe a lot of the mainstream people don't love it. So let me know what you guys thought of it down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like this video. And please make sure to subscribe if you're new here. And I'll see you all in the next video, and have a great rest of the day.